fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse, I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kiru's show here. And now, whenever we last left off with this series, we had Isuku Midoriya, who is currently indisposed because of his strange mutation. And we do have Celine and Melissa. Celine, who is 2 months pregnant with Midoriya's child, and Melissa, who is currently trying to work to find a cure. Then we also do have William, the first Lycan, who has, after mustering enough of his own forces, began to reveal themselves to the world, telling them that not only do Lycan exist, but so do vampires, as they committed a raid during a full moon, as a whole lot of people were turned in the ensuing chaos. Now, with that being said, this was very peculiar, especially because of this strain that William can produce of his new Lycan infection. Every time he does bite somebody, it does seem to be a 100% turn rate, and there's no lethality to it. Every human bitten by a Lycan he has infected is turned, and that's a very big problem, since we do actually cut up about 5 months later, where the war has been getting a bit more hectic. Humans are almost completely scattered around, and every time there's a full moon, the Lycan horde gets massively larger. Populations would just suddenly spike up, and it's a very large problem. Now, Japan is what is suffering the most, since no Lycan has been able to leave the island to spread his version of the second generation infection. Now, Japan, they are on the verge of the nuclear option, since if these versions of the Lycan get out, then it is going to be a clear cause for concern. Military forces have been sent in, along with even military equipment being torn to shreds by these Lycan, along with pro-heroes who have suffered great casualties. Now, with that, we do pick up with Melissa, who, after a whole lot of trial and error, she believes that she does have it. Within the vial in her right hand might be the cure for Midoriya. She believes that this is a sample of William's blood, or at least something of a Lycan. The vampires who got this to her are all dead, and some of the Lycan that worked with those vampires have been killed. Whenever William was commencing a raid on a military base or a military encampment, he was hit, along with gunned down by almost a whole bunch more Lycan. He was the only one who got back up. And within the massive, pool of corpses, these vampires took samples of everything they could around the area he was believed to have been dropped at. So, that is the problem. If she injects Midoriya with this, will he be cured? Will he turn more? If that's even the right phrase she's going to use here. What is going to happen if she puts this in his blood? Now, she does actually go to call Celine, as Celine would pick up the phone and ask exactly if she's done it. Not yet. In fact, well, that's just it. The Covenant were getting more and more, well, suspicious. Everybody else has already abandoned multiple other facilities all around Japan. We're the only one left standing. At this point, we need to move now. But the risk we have with this, you are aware of it, correct, Celine? Yes, I know. But at this point, what do we have? Now, this is whenever she would actually go to stand up and start to make her way down to the lab. As Melissa does turn to look at Midoriya, who one of his eyes are the strange color again. And he does just look tired and exhausted. As he would look up at her and she would see him in his hybrid form. Now, she does go to walk over, as she does grab Midoriya by his arm, him hardly even fighting her at this point, as she would begin to unchain his forearm, and then bring his hand up, her going to bite into it, as she does take Midoriya's blood. Now, the moment this actually does happen, she does go to plug down a syringe into the wound she did make, and she does press down on it, as her heartbeat does begin to skyrocket, and she does begin to feel something. Her going to look down at her hands, and then look around, as she does not know what she just did. From opening Midoriya's bloodstream up to allow her to inject him with this virus or antivirus, she exposed herself to Midoriya. And that was actually somewhat convenient. As Selena's come walking into the room, and see Melissa, as her eyes are beginning to change, and even her, well, physical appearances seem to start to alter, as her body's acting like it's trying to turn into a lichen, but at the same time it's not. Her just looking down at her hands, as eventually she does just stop trying to transform, and they do look at Midoriya, as you do see him just sitting there for a minute, before his eyes do completely shoot up into the air, and he does look up, before he does begin to start reverting to a human. Now, the moment this does happen, Celine does go to try and rush forwards, as Melissa would get in front of her, telling her to stop, and that she doesn't know what's happening yet. Now, this would be whenever you actually have Midoriya, who would go to look up, as his hybrid face does look different. And something does happen. A giant wing does go shooting forwards, and it does stab Melissa upwards into her shoulder, as she's caught off guard by it, and she's going to try and grab it. However, it just pull her forward as Midoriya is going to grab away at the key. Now, the moment this actually does happen, Midoriya does go to free his other arm, and whenever he does do that, he does go to reach down and try to pull free his legs. Now, Midoriya would then actually toss Melissa to the side, before going to look at Celine, as he does just scream at her, and he does begin to start to transform a little bit more. Now, Midoriya, he does go rushing for her, and she does go to try and bring up her guns to try and protect herself. However, Midoriya just runs past her, and he goes flying out of the covert, quite literally, as people were confused. Bakugo running a bit late, as he would drive to the gates, and see as Midoriya goes flying overhead. Now, Bakugo and Ochako do look out of the car, and see this. Now, they are confused by what's happening. However, you do actually have Melissa, who does come running outside and try to warn them. Now, Midoriya just goes flying away, and this is very strange. Now, this would be where Celine, she actually would order everybody to start packing up everything they have. And to make sure that they have all the safe houses they have marked on maps. Now, with that being said, every vehicle they have, all the weapons they have, all the money they have, is quickly being loaded up. Since if the government or military forces encounter Midoriya, they might trace him back to here. And they'd rather take this precaution and evacuate temporarily. Now, we do have Midoriya who's flying overhead. And this does surprise a lot of people whenever he does come flying towards the city. Now, Lycans are currently fighting against the military forces. And they are taking them down quickly. Now, the military, they are using silver ammunition. And that does seem to have some effect. However, not as greatly as they would like it to. And they even have dropped silver dust upon multiple different areas. However, the Lycan, they just start to avoid those areas and start to destroy more areas that are populated with people. Now, the military, they do actually see Midoriya. And for a minute they think that he's a ally. However, after closer inspection, he is not one of their vehicles. And they are heavily confused, since this is an unknown infected. Now, the military do train and engage Midoriya. And whenever he's almost shot out of the sky, or one of his wings are blown off and he goes flying down towards the ground, he would immediately just get back up and look in that direction. As the tank that did hit him does actually go to point the gun downwards and start to move it. As Midoriya, he's already rushing at it. And he does get directly in front of it as he does actually grab the giant barrel. The tank's still trying to move. As Midoriya, he does just bend the barrel and then go to rip this thing off. The moment he actually does, he does go to look down. And you do have the human military who do go firing into Midoriya. However, Midoriya, he quickly does just consume them all. And this is whenever more military do try to engage him, along with the Lycan forces. Now, we will cut back over to Celine, who, she is trying her best to hold out the hope he will be okay. Now, this is whenever radio signals are picked up, and it's talking about the unknown threats, and the giant winged bastard, as we'll call him. He's already taken out a giant tank, along with multiple military helicopters. Now, we do actually cut to William, who he is sitting down and listening to this radio chatter, as the giant winged bastard, that sounds like his older brother. And he does think for a minute that Marcus is alive. I should go see for myself. Now, this would be whenever he does go to get up, and he does transform into his Lycan form, as he does head out. Now, he does begin to make his way towards Midoriya's location, as the military watch Midoriya as he just rips apart Lycan over and over again, along with him actually biting one in half. Now, this does seem peculiar, as they fire silver down on his location. Midoriya doesn't even move. Along with that, he does seem to be like a vampire, and they do radio in these things. as they they call Midoriya, or refer to him as, an abomination, or a hybrid of the two species, which the humans find peculiar. As far as they are aware from what they've encountered and studied of the species, a hybrid is impossible, especially because they've been trying to make one. Now, there is actually whenever William does arrive, and the military, they are alerted to this, since he runs straight through their forces and tears apart their vehicles. As he does bring a man up before just smashing him down over his knee, and then going to toss him away, the man flying through a building. As he does go to look down at a human who is trying to get up, as he does have heavy footsteps, and he does then hear Midoriya shriek, as he would go to turn around and see Midoriya. Him just thinking, it's him. Now, this is whenever he actually does turn fully to Midoriya and go to start running, as he does pick up speed. And then you do actually have Midoriya who does go down on all fours for a minute, and go to bring himself backwards before launching himself forwards with his wings. Now, William is running straight, while Midoriya, he's flying. And the two, they do both tackle one another. Now, they do go rolling. And the military, they do focus on this, as they do want to order, well, a bomb on this area, or a bomber's run. Now, this would be whenever they actually do get these orders run through their superiors. Now, there is also a bit of concern. Humans want to study both of these too. They are highly valuable, and they could even help with a project they are working on, since apparently these infected are immune to whatever caused quirks. Now, Midoriya, he is fairly trying to rip into William and take him down, as these two are almost on par with strength. Now, Midoriya and William, the fight does seem to be quite one-sided at first. Midoriya has the advantage, with him being able to knock William around and having the extra appendages with his wings. However, William is able to outsmart Midoriya, since Midoriya is out for blood, and he's trying to just feed. Now, William does actually go to throw a punch straight at Midoriya, as Midoriya would just take the punch before going to throw one back. And the moment this actually does happen, he's caught off guard, before Midoriya does try to stab him upwards with one of his wings, being able to get him in the side, as he would scream out in pain before just going to smash down with his left hand, snapping off that appendage. Now, as it does actually happen, he does lunge at Midoriya, and go to try and bite him. Midoriya actually going to smack him away with his claws, and scratching a large gash in his jaw, before Midoriya just goes to throw him down with as much force as he can, and he does go to sink his teeth down into his uncle's neck. Now, Midoriya, he does begin to feed, and this is quite peculiar, as he does then rip out a large chunk and swallow it. Now, the military are watching, as Midoriya, he just is sitting there for 1 minute, as he's overpowered the threat they've been struggling with for months. And, well, for a minute he just looks confused, as Midoriya does feel conscious for the first time in forever, as he does just look around, and he doesn't look down, as he does see William, And he does think for 1 minute. Where is he? As William does actually go to try and push Midoriya off of him. And Midoriya, he does go flying backwards. As he does just start to regain it. The feeling in his body. Especially the way he does feel now. Him turning and looking into a mirror. Or the glass window of a building. And seeing that he's larger than Marcus and William. In fact, he stands twice as tall in this new form. In fact, if you had to describe it, he looks like a giant, well, humanoid wolf, along with the extra hair on him. And then there's the wings on his back. We're quite surprised, as he does go to turn to look at William. And he is then blasted, as the area is firebombed and hit by the bombers. Now, Midoriya, he's blasted away, as he does go flying through the air and smashes onto a wall, before he does go to sink down. Now, Midoriya, he actually has to pull off one of his wings since they are on fire, and heavily damaged. Whenever Midoriya to do that, he actually did have an idea, as he would go to shrink down back into his human form, as it does feel strange. Him then running into an alleyway and trying to lose everybody after him, using his superior speed. Now, we do actually then have William, who he is almost killed in the chaos, as the military do sweep him up, and want to gain more information. Now, Midoriya, he is actually able to go into hiding, and he does make his way back to the mansion eventually. Now, he was caught off guard by everything. The mansion was destroyed and, well, evacuated. Midoriya, hoping for 1 minute that Celine and everyone else did get out of there, as he does vaguely remember a conversation she did have with him, and it does hit him like a truck, that he is a father, or he's going to be a dad. Now, with that, William, he is going to be dissected by the military, since they do want to create countermeasures for Lycan. And Midoriya, he's trying to reunite with his family. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.